Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to my special guest, Scott on Tape, the
What's
pop
up?
culture tour guide. Um, and tell my audience a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, I've had a YouTube channel now. It's going to be 8 years in April of this year. It'll be 8 years since I started it. I do a lot of mostly pop culture locations, events, people, true crime, celebrity graves, anything to do with that darker side of Hollywood. But I also do a lot of filming locations of famous movies, music videos, things like that. A lot of my favorite artists: Eminem, Kurt Cobain, anything like that. That's my channel. It's Scott
Cool.
on Tape.
Yeah, and I'm one of your subscribers.
Thank you. I appreciate every single one of my subscribers. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Um, we were talking backstage about the Idaho poor case, and yeah, there's a lot of people that think that Brian Koberg is guilty. There's a lot of people think that Brian Koberg is innocent, and and you were telling me that you really haven't followed the case very much. But there's like a lot of twists
Oh
and
yeah.
turns in this case.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah,
like
my friend, Big on the Move. He has a channel. He went to Idaho. The only reason I haven't followed that case is because I have so much true crime backlogged that I've filmed that I haven't put up yet. So I've been concentrating on editing those. And the problem is, Idaho is one of 3 states I have yet to visit, and I want to go to Idaho. The only problem with Idaho for me is there's not much there in terms of pop culture. I'm sure it's a beautiful state
yeah,
with so much to see, but for my channel, I can't just go and do one topic. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I got to, if I go somewhere, I need 5, 6 videos to film in a day or two. So
yeah.
Idaho, I've been looking. I've always looked because I want to go to Idaho because I've heard it's beautiful, Sun Valley, everything. But that's the case. I just haven't followed as closely as I have other ones.
I mean, uh, I'm trying to branch out to do different cases because the Idaho poor case is going to trial this coming August, and it's going to last till November. And when this case is over, and I don't want my channel to tank because I just cover this one case. So that's why I'm branching out to other cases like
Mhm.
like the ASAP Rocky case, and then there's another case that's going on right now. Uh, you remember the Ahmed Aubrey trial
Of
from
course, yeah,
back 2020, 2021?
yeah.
The prosecutor in that case is now on trial herself.
Oh,
Um, yeah, yeah, she's on trial for obstruction of justice, failure to do her duties, and then a misdemeanor one. I can't remember which one that is, and that trial is going on right now. And then you have another, you have another one that's just starting. I think it was the coaching case or something like that,
right.
and yeah, it's right now. It's in the evidence phase, the hearing motions and then suppression motions. That one's starting, but getting back to the Idaho case,
Mhm.
you have the two surviving roommates, which they didn't call 911 for 8 hours,
Yeah,
which
that-
which is kind of kind of odd. Yeah, you had Dylan, who opened her door 3 times that night, and she saw the killer walking out of the house. Yeah, but she gave it a description of 5'10" or taller, athletically built, not muscular, bushy eyebrows. I mean, that's really a generic statement of somebody.
yeah.
It's, walking through the house. And I mean, what boggles my mind is that 8 hour gap, that 8 hour delay on why they didn't call 911, because the murders took place around 4 in the morning and they didn't call 911 till like almost noon.
Right. Yeah, I did hear about that. The thing about, well, when it comes to true crime, first of all, even if like this crime gets solved and it's over in terms of what you can cover, sadly, there's always going to be another topic. There's always going to be more true crime. There's always going to be
Yeah.
something new. and then you can always revisit older ones or unsolved ones.
Yeah.
There's not a lack of true crime out there. But
Yeah.
and then another thing I've realized after covering true crime and going to these crime locations and things for so many years now, something like that with the 8-hour gap. Now, this is coming from someone who does not know anything really about the Idaho 4 case, but you can go crazy trying to figure it out yourself, trying to figure out why, but nobody ever is really gonna know except for the people themselves and what they're telling, So you can go really crazy because like there's been a lot, like I've done the Menendez brothers, John Bonet, you name it, I've covered so many of these cases, and it's just like you drive yourself nuts thinking, well, why didn't this happen, or why did they do this? And especially when it's like Menendez brothers, it's the parents, versus the kids. The parents aren't here to say, give their, tell the world what happened. You only have one side of it. Who knows? There's so much.
Yeah. Now, do you feel that the Menendez brothers should be released or have a new trial? Or I'm kind of on the fence about that.
Yeah, I like that answer, actually, on the fence, because I'm on the fence about it too, because not everything is black and white, and not everything. Because I got a lot of comments about it. The first time I did the video on the Menendez brothers, it got about 350,000 views, but unfortunately I got it got taken down by YouTube for a reason. So the comments were full, but I have since re-edited and put it up to not include certain footage.
Yeah.
And also I went to the parents' grave, and I've heard all this stuff that has come out that the brothers are innocent. Family members have said this and that, and again, I don't know. I'm just covering the trial, right? I mean, the crime and the trial, but the parents aren't here to say what happened. It's their word. But if other people are corroborating what the Menendez brothers said, and if they're proven innocent or not innocent, I guess they had a reason to do such a thing.
Yeah.
In a court of law, then I would respect that, of course. But it's hard to say as somebody who covered it. I don't know. I really don't know the answer. I don't know. It's a horrific crime, but who knows what really happened in that house before, in the years leading up to it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What
And
happened to the brothers?
no one really knows but them. So
right. I mean, other people have come out and said things, negative things about the parents. So there's that, and I guess we'll see if they get a new trial or what happens.
Yeah. Just like the Delphi case, with Richard Allen. The judge in that case, would not allow any type of media cameras in there at all. The trial was basically, a lot of people say it was done in the dark, because you had Andrea Burkhart. She's a lawyer plus she's a YouTuber, and she was sitting there in the courthouse, and she was fuming mad because Judge Gall wouldn't allow, like, no cameras, no recording devices at all in the courthouse or in the trial. Right. And then they ended up sentencing him to 130 years, basically in the dark, because Judge Gall wouldn't even allow them any recording anything in the courtroom during the sentencing. And there's a lot of people who's upset because of how this trial was done. Yeah, it was basically done in the dark, and so was the sentencing. And this man got sentenced to 130 years, and now there's stuff coming out that possibly he didn't even do it.
Well, what was her reasoning for not allowing? What was her exact reasoning for not allowing media or to be?
She didn't get one. She didn't get one.
I think we're in a different time. I think we've seen in 30 years since the OJ case, which was the first big televised court case, and a criminal case like that with such viciousness that played out in the public eye. And I think that also led to the jury, could be misled or, not necessarily tampered with, but the jury's going to hear things. Now we're 30 years later. We're in the time of social media. We're in 24/7 news, which we had back then, but it's crazier now.
Yeah.
It's not 24/7 news. It's by the second news. Something
Yeah.
happens, we hear about it 2 seconds later on Twitter and everything. But so I think, maybe there's a reason why. Maybe because they didn't want it to play out over social media. They didn't want it to become a circus. They wanted the victims' families to have privacy, which I'm going to say I would agree with that when it comes to the victim's family. If it's something, that's their kids. That's their, and there could be just video of them crying on the stand and stuff like that. Do we need to see that?
Yeah.
I think the people that need to see that are in the courtroom. That are the jury, the prosecutor, the defense. I don't know though. I know that's just me. That's just a theory I'm just coming up with, kind of thinking. Maybe that's why they didn't want it to turn into a media circus more than it has.
Oh yeah, just like in the Idaho 4 case. I mean, they're and I know it's for a fair trial. They're sealing everything up, and I know it's for a fair trial. And they've gone through. When in a case have you seen a victim's family, try to, their name is the Gonzalez family, and when the court was in Latah County where the murders happened, the Gonzalez family was doing their own jury surveys on the streets of Moscow, Idaho, and because they thought the judge was taken too slow, so they started doing their own jury surveys. Well, what happened with that? It ended up getting a change of venue from Latah County to Boise, and the same place where Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow Daybell had their trial at. At the Boise District Courthouse. You have this judge now. His name is Judge Hippler, and just by watching some of the hearings and watching him, he's very by the book. Because when he introduced himself to the defense and the prosecution, he goes, "I would say it's nice to meet you, but I wouldn't want to tell you a half truth."
Right. Wow. So is it Moscow, Idaho? Is that where it took place?
Yes, it took place in Moscow, Idaho, and I mean, what I couldn't figure out is, they say that Bryan Kohberger did it, but they let him walk around for an entire month. He went to WSU in Pullman. Murders took place on November 13th, 2022. They had his car or something, is what they're saying. But from November 25th to December 13th, they let him run around free. Him and his dad drove from Pullman, Washington, all the way to Albrightsville, Pennsylvania.
Right.
And they're saying that he was the guy. If he was the guy, why would you let him drive halfway across the country?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and I'm just looking at how small the town is. That is a small little, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a college town.
Yeah. I mean, it's smaller than most college towns for sure.
Yeah.
That I've been to. Wow. Yeah. Right into unbelievable. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look more into the case. It's only 5 hours from Seattle. I go to Seattle every now and again, so not too far.
Yeah. So have you I saw one of your videos where you were talking about BTK. Back in the 70s when he was running rampant, my mom and I went to the grocery store, and then because we used to leave our doors unlocked all the time.
Right.
And then right as BTK hit, my mom started locking the doors, and I would ask her, being a little kid, I'm like, why are you locking the door? And the only thing my mom would tell me, because there's a boogeyman running around Wichita.
Eesh, that's scary. That's a scary thing to have to tell a kid. And that's a scary thing for a kid to have to learn. Yeah, I mean, I spent well, I would say I've been to Wichita 3 times, I think 2 or 3 times, and it was I don't know if it's the second time I was there. I was there that it was the second time I was there that I did the BTK, and I was surprised how fast I was able to get the video done because I went to every location. I don't know if you
Yeah.
watched the video. I went to every location, and I
Yeah.
mean, it was a January day. It was a Wednesday, Tuesday. No, it was a Tuesday in Wichita. So there was, I don't know what was going on. There was in January, there was no traffic, but it just felt very barren and desolate and quiet. There's not a lot of
Yeah.
cars out. There's not a lot of people around. It's a big city, but those areas they're kind of eerie. I mean,
Yeah.
BTK's. I've done so many true crimes. I've done all the big, quote unquote the big ones. But BTK is one that always stuck with me. I was off book, and by that I mean I didn't have to keep looking at my hand for notes. I didn't have to. I knew the case back in front. I knew every victim's name. Starting with the Otero family, and it's crazy. That's a crazy case, and I hate him so much. He's such a coward.
Yeah. I know where. Yeah, I visited the graves of a few of the victims. Like Shirley Vian, Vicky Waverly, Dolores Davis, Maureen Hedge. Dolores Davis is either Dolores Davis or Maureen Hedge is buried in this cemetery that's like right by my house, Old Mission
Wow.
Cemetery. And then Shirley Vian is buried out at Hillside Cemetery here in Wichita, and then way out west, that's where Vicky Wagerly and I believe it's either Shirley is either Maureen Davis or the other one. They're buried out there.
What was the lady? His neighbor,
And
like 3 doors down. What was her name? Was that
I
Dolores?
think I think that was uh
I can't remember her name.
Marine Hedge.
Marine Hedge. And there was
Yeah.
one. There was one that was the house that was. I want to say north, but maybe not. It was way out there, kind of not too far from his church where he got caught.
Yeah, that was Dolores Davis.
Her house. Her house. Is it still standing? I can't remember now. When I went there.
Yeah, it's still standing.
It's still standing. There's only one house I
uh,
think that was gone. Otherwise, they were all there.
Yeah, I think the only house that was gone is his, because
Yeah,
they
I
tore
know.
his
Yeah,
house down.
yeah. Maybe they're all there. I can't believe that the Otero house is still there. I mean,
Yeah,
I remember that vividly that morning, getting out of my car across the street in that little plaza, whatever it is, across the street from the Otero house, just
yeah,
looking at it, knowing what occurred in there, and just hard to believe it. Like a lot of times in the States, I'm in Canada, but a lot of times in the States they do tear houses down, but that's something that happens in Canada a lot. If there's a brutal murder, a brutal crime,
yeah,
usually that gets torn down or gets taken away. That's sort of the thing that happens here, but happens occasionally in the States. But I'm glad they took his house down, and I'm glad he's
yeah.
alive to see that it's gone, and I hope he's suffering wherever he is.
Yeah, he is in. Well, he's serving 10 consecutive life sentences. He is in El Dorado State Prison in Supermax. The last thing I heard is he's stopped eating. He stopped taking
Good.
showers. Um, he yeah, and he's like almost dead because he's almost 80.
He's almost 80
And
now.
huh?
Is he almost 80 now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I hope he's suffering. I hate to say it, but no, I don't hate to say it because not only there are 2 reasons. Like I've covered Dahmer, I've covered Ed Gein, I've covered Bundy. They're all terrible people, but BTK has always stood out for me because he liked to exert power.
Yeah.
But you're not exerting power when you're blindsiding people in the middle while they're sleeping or from behind, and when they're obviously weaker than you. you know, you're not exerting any power. You're not a tough guy. He liked to put that on that he was tough, and
Yeah.
then so that really, you know, I his arrogance, his bravado, and then the second one, he killed the little girl.
Yeah.
That little girl,
Yeah. Josephine.
Josephine
Yeah.
Otero,
The
in the
little girl,
house,
Josephine. Yep.
in the basement. And you know, if you do harm to a child, there's
Yeah.
no,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I think you know, yeah, you agree.
Yeah.
Like it's just so I've always I'd almost want to go back to Wichita and redo a video just because the case had fascinated me so much, and just to do and see the locations again and maybe visit some extra graves and stuff. But you know, who knows?
Yeah. 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 There was yeah, and what was weird is, back in, I think it was, I was incarcerated back in 2004 and 2005,
Mhm.
and when I was in the county jail, at that time, there was a strip club here. I think it's still here, or used to be, or not here anymore, called Michelle's Beach House,
Okay.
and the owner of Michelle's Beach House actually bought Dennis Rader's house.
Really? For what
Yeah.
purpose?
I guess it was. I guess it was to fill, her macabre murder
Oh,
memorabilia.
oh, so she bought it for that reason. Hmm.
Yeah, and she didn't have it long, because some of the neighbors petitioned to have the house torn down because of exactly what had happened there
Right,
and who
but
had
he didn't. I mean,
lived there.
he didn't kill anybody inside his own house, though, right? No.
No, no, no. He didn't kill anybody inside of his own house. They just want the
Yeah,
neighbors. Thought it
yeah.
was
Oh
an
no, no. I get why the neighbors
eyesore.
wanted it gone. No, I understand that. I was just trying to remember because I do know that in the backyard there was a tree house or something he did
Yeah,
in the back. He took a lot of those photos of himself in the
yeah,
backyard. Those crazy photos. He took those, but like in terms of somebody buying it for the notoriety and because of what happened there, I'd be like, well, nothing really happened there. It was just a family house. He
yeah.
owned it, sure, but he didn't. Like, so what are you buying for the notoriety? But I'm like I said before, I'm glad. I hope they gave him the news that, by the way, your house is being torn down. I hope he was upset. There's something in
I don't,
particular, as you can tell, there's something about him that really gets me. I,
yeah,
I, I it's the killing of the little child, and then just the way he went about it, and
yeah.
the way he got caught by asking the police. By the way, there's no way you can trace this, right? And the cops like, no, we can't.
Yeah, that
Dude.
was stupid.
And then he's like mad at the cop, like they lied to him. I was like, yeah, dude, because it's not a game, and
Yeah,
you're not playing cat and mouse, and for whatever. You're such a moron.
yeah. Because I watched the documentary, yeah, about Lieutenant Landwehr and the BTK arrest and everything.
Right.
And I was sitting, back then I was sitting in community corrections residential, watching TV, and a friend of mine, his name is Marty. He goes, dude, look. He goes, they got BTK, they got BTK. So I freaking looked up and was watching TV, and according to Chief Landwehr, when he was walking into the county jail, there was people beating on the glass and chanting his name, and he was going
Yeah.
thumbs up.
BTK was giving thumbs up.
Yeah.
Oh, what a
Yeah,
tool!
he was giving thumbs up to everyone that was chanting his name and beating on the glass in the booking.
I think I'm trying to remember because his street is very weird, where it has that turn off and then turns down onto his
Yeah.
street. And I remember lining up the shots of the police. So I got the exact location he was caught, but there's something I missed because they had a dragnet set up, or like they had a, what do you call it? So
Well, I know they got him when he was coming home from work for lunch.
right, but there was something. He turned around that corner. They
Like
stopped
spike
him.
strips.
Yeah, and I showed that, but there's something I missed. I think that's what's in my head about me wanting to go back. There's something, maybe there are other photos I found of police around the corner or something. I can't remember, but I remember getting out and being there. It's quite bizarre
Yeah.
on his street. Where's his wife? Is she alive still?
Yeah, she's still alive. No one really knows where she's at because the last thing I heard is she went into witness protection.
She did.
Yeah,
Never
either
heard that.
she either went into witness protection. Yeah. The last thing I heard from a friend of mine is that she just like disappeared off the map.
Yeah, I think
And
she. I'm looking here. BTK wife. She was granted emergency divorce.
yeah,
I don't think she was Paula Dietz. Here it is. This is 2022. There she is. I don't think she. I
well,
don't think
where'd
she
she go
qualified for
then?
witness protection. I think she just. I think
Maybe
she
she
just.
went into maybe she went into her own witness protection.
That's what I was about to say. I think she did it herself. That's kind of what I've been just by these headlines I looked up just now because I know the daughter wrote a book, and
And the daughter's actually helping getting him convicted on other charges.
she is.
Because he's been tied to, or they're saying he's being tied to murders in Oklahoma and Missouri.
He seems too lazy to go that far. You know what I mean?
His son was part of Boy Scouts
Oh
or
yeah,
Cub
that's
Scouts.
true. Yeah, he left one of the Boy Scout camping trips
Yeah,
overnight. Like he left to go and
yeah,
kill someone and came back, right?
yeah,
Whoa, Jesus.
yeah.
Oh, so
Woke up
maybe he did more.
when
You know,
yeah,
there's
well,
that
yeah, woke
lady. Sorry.
woke up, left the tent, went killed somebody, and then came back and snuck back into the tent next to his son.
Unbelievable. And there, it was reminding me of Rodney Alcala, the dating game killer. You know, the
Yeah.
one out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was convicted of, I think it was 5 or 6
Hmm.
murders, but he's
Yeah.
suspected of over 130 others. You know, that
Oh
is
wow.
unreal. Yeah, I just watched a movie about him last night or 2 nights ago. Yeah.
Look at the freaking Night Stalker. Yeah, how many murders he got away with?
And
Yeah, Richard.
how many more he got away with? But he he's another one that he I think he's just so full of shit with his whole devil stuff and all that. Like I just think it's just he was just crazy and he just wanted to be all weird and spooky and creepy. But he was
Yeah.
just a cold-blooded murderer, and also he I mean murdered older people, like so defenseless. I mean, anybody that commits murder is horrible, but I mean, when you're
Yeah.
picking on the elderly and the children, you know what I mean? Like, and you think you're
Oh
so
yeah.
tough. No, you're not so tough. And
Mm-mm.
I went to maybe 3 or 4 of the locations. One locations where I think it was the house where he murdered the 2 sisters and the older ladies. Maybe one of them
Yeah.
survived. This is 3 or 4 years ago. I've got so much stuff in my head. I can't remember the exact details all the time. But that house was way out there. It was way outside of Los Angeles. It took a while to get to. And then the other house I remember was thinking Altadena or Pasadena.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he was caught. I was the first person to show the exact location where he was caught. And I lined it up with the I think the sewer on the street from helicopter shots.
Yeah.
So they caught him whatever street that is. And that was crazy seeing that exact location where the Night Stalker. I worked hard on that one for a long time.
We got the Night Stalker. We've got Ed Kemper,
Yep.
the co-ed killer.
Oh yeah.
They called him the Gentle Giant.
Mm-hmm.
Which I find truly ironic. You got the 6'9" guy going out and killing co-eds. He killed his mom, killed her friend, and he's just all being nonchalant in front of the cops at the jury room bar.
Trying to think of the one I did. What was the one I did in Chicago? Well, I've done a few. Richard Specht. You know that one?
I've heard about it.
No, that building is still there. That's on the south side
Oh
of Chicago.
wow.
That is. I went there first with a friend that lives out there, and we got about 30 seconds of video, and he said, "We got to go." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "We got to go." And people were watching us because the building's sort of half deserted, but you
Yeah.
don't know what's going on. And it's it didn't seem to be it just seemed to be a regular area. But
Yeah.
so I didn't get any footage. So I went back a year later and walked up and down the street. It was perfectly fine. Got all the footage I needed. And yeah, the fact that building, he killed a lot of nurses, right? There were nurses in that.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. That was.
Yeah. Yeah. And look at who was it? The Zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some people say he was more of a spree killer than a serial killer. Um, because his killing spree didn't last all that long.
No, it didn't. And he just disappeared. He
Yeah.
just kind of stopped. Who knows? He could have moved out of the area. He could have gotten scared and spooked that he was going to get caught. He could have died. He was when he was on that TV show, when he called into that TV show live, he claimed that he was sick, and suffering from headaches. Maybe he died, but we'll never know, really, probably.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. Oh, yeah. We'll never know. I've heard like over the last few years, many different suspects for the Zodiac. I've heard Lawrence Kane. I've heard this other, this other guy, a really tall, bald guy with glasses. Um, and then I heard like recently, this guy named Earl Van Best confessed on his deathbed about being the Zodiac.
Yeah, he
So
never.
we
I wonder if that's
yeah we
true.
huh
I wonder if that's true. I wonder, like some people confess in it, and they didn't do it, which is the
yeah
strangest thing. But people do that all the time, right?
oh yeah
Like, and I mean, somebody on their deathbed confessing, you think, well, they got nothing to lose now, but they could just be saying that just to, unless
yeah
it can be proven. I was just about to say that I've never done a video on Zodiac, but I did in 2019. I went to the location of the Lover's Lane, where he killed the first two kids. I forget. Well, he shot the girl died, but the boy lived.
yeah
So I went to
yeah
that location, and they actually used that. They
yeah
used that in the documentary. They used my footage. That was the first
oh
time.
cool
Yeah, they used it in NBC. NBC used it in some documentary, which I never even saw. But I know they used my footage. Or I may have seen it. I don't know. It was 6 years ago, and I can't remember. But that was the first time anybody big contacted me and said, "Can we use your footage?" And I was like, "All right, go for it." No, because I guess not a lot of people knew where the spot was or would go out there. But
yeah I saw like this one. It was a series on History Channel a few years ago called Hunting the Zodiac, and it had Ken Maines and Sal LaBarbera. Yeah, and they were trying to figure out who the Zodiac was, and then they had the supercomputer yeah that was designed to think like the Zodiac, and they would put the ciphers into the supercomputer, and it was a very interesting show. Um, and the Zodiac symbol, it is like it falls on a moon day.
Okay.
Yeah, the lunar calendar, and it's always on a Dali day. Yeah,
Really?
DALI.
Yeah.
And and because they showed it, and it was the circle with the little, looked like little crosshairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was very interesting. Um, but I mean, if this guy Earl Van Best was the Zodiac, yeah, be a deathbed confession, then that should solve the case. But yeah, there's still people trying to figure out who the Zodiac is.
You really know your stuff. I can tell true crime, so that a confession doesn't mean anything unless that confession can be proven. Now, back in the day,
Yeah.
50, 60 years ago, somebody would confess, okay, we solved the crime. It doesn't
Yeah.
go. It doesn't happen like that anymore, and that's a good thing because people will falsely confess for multiple reasons. Most of the time, it's because they are a little crazy or insane, and they have mental health issues. I should
Yeah.
say, but some people are just pure evil and will confess to things that they didn't do. But you never know.
Yeah.
So it has to be backed up by hard evidence and DNA. DNA is the one. I don't know how much DNA would be left now with the Zodiac
Yeah.
case, if there is any. You might know. I don't know if they
They do have a pair of pants from one of the victims. Yeah, it was. She was killed in the alley in between these two houses at the college in Berkeley College, and they have her pants, and they found a gravity bleeding on her pants, and they knew it wasn't from her, because and they could clearly tell it was gravity bleeding, and
okay.
it was a male profile.
So they could do a familial DNA,
Yeah.
possibly. I mean, there's so many ways to connect people now to crimes.
Yeah.
It's incredible that people. I mean, crimes of passion. Crimes when it's during robbery, things like that.
Yeah.
That's always going to happen. But when it comes
Yeah.
to serial killers and people, like that, you don't hear about it as much. But it's still happening. But you got to think, what are these people thinking? Because there's so many ways to get caught now. There's cameras everywhere,
Yeah.
inside and out, and DNA they can match up to your father, to your mother. You know what I mean? And then figure out who you are. Like it's
Oh yeah.
people are still doing this. You're gonna get caught.
Like, yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah, like you just said, you're gonna get caught. I heard today that they actually have a DNA match for Jack the Ripper.
Yes, I read that 2 or 3 days ago. Somebody told me about that, and I looked it up. Who knows, right? But that's
Yeah, because we've heard the same thing for
right,
years. It was Charles Allen Lechmere,
right.
and uh, yeah, and and then made an entire YouTube channel, The House of Lechmere, and then this comes out saying that it wasn't Charles Allen Lechmere, it was Aaron Kosminski.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Aaron Kosminski. Such a strange name for that type of for that time. But you know what? I think you
yeah,
said it. What did you say? Sorry about uh, like Zodiac, Jack the
yeah,
Ripper. You're never going to really the crime literally could get solved, but there's going to be so many
yeah,
people out there. No, can't be because of this, that, and another one that comes to mind is Black Dahlia.
yeah,
That's a case that everybody wants solved, everybody wants to figure out. And I think even if they had said conclusively this is who did it, but because it happened
yeah,
so long ago, nobody's ever going to be completely satisfied.
yeah.
Nobody's going to
And
say,
that is a very interesting case too.
"Oh yeah,
Uh,
it's a crazy case."
yeah, and it's yeah, yeah. Like you said, it's a crazy case, and it's a mysterious case because she like basically disappeared at someone's house, and then they found her body.
Yeah, I've been to the location of where her body was found, and I've been to one of the houses where they said it happened, and I've taken some footage, but always kind of said I'll come. I mean, I work mostly in LA, so I'll be, I'll do it again. But she's buried up near San Francisco, I believe. I think is where her grave is. So I missed it when I was in San Francisco in 2021 or 2022. So that's a case, if I do it, I have to do all of it. And there's a lot of locations. But it's
Yeah,
frustrating when it's unsolved. It's frustrating. I think it's frustrating for the audience. It's frustrating for like in terms of doing it as YouTube or entertainment. Of course, it's more frustrating and upsetting for the
yeah,
family. Let's not forget. But for me, when
yeah,
I try not to do too many. I don't really do very many unsolved because I get angry because I'm like, I want somebody to pay for these crimes. You know?
yeah. Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, that's a big part of my
We're going
channel.
at we're going on 40 minutes. So you want to go ahead and wrap this? Because
Yeah,
I know
we'll
you
do
got
another
some other
follow-up,
things
right?
to do.
Pardon?
Yeah, we'll do a follow up, and I'll send you my number on Insta.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me on. I'll see you in a few weeks. We'll do another
You're
one.
welcome. Okay. Yeah, I want to say, I say a special thank you to Scott on Tape for, for sitting down with me tonight and talking a little bit of true crime and some other cases. This is True Crime Unraveled. And is there anything would you like to tell the audience before we go? What you got coming up the next week or so?
Well, I might. The reason I had to cut this short tonight is because I'm in the middle of, and I can't say the word too loud because my dog is right beside me, packing. He does not like that word. For my next trip that I'm doing, it's a big one, but it's not as long, thankfully. But I film, like I said when I was talking about going to Idaho, I film about, when I'm on the road, I film up to 3 videos a day usually. So they're coming up on my channel. There's lots of stuff still from like the last summer, like in Chicago, New York, Connecticut, Florida. I've got one or two coming. Lots from California. Lots from where else was I? Texas. I just filmed. I was there for a month in Texas. So lots of true crime and lots of celebrity stuff coming up.
And I love Bam Margera and Jackass.
Oh, tell him you said that. Yeah, he was great. We did so that's the X5 podcast. So they are based out of Alabama, and I'm a host on that now. I was
Cool.
originally a guest, and I've become really tight with them. They're a great group of guys. So they've asked me to be a host, and of course I live far. I don't live in Alabama, but I go there a lot. So we try to film as many episodes as we can when I'm there. We just did Bam Margera last week, and we've got some crazy guests coming this year, some pretty big guests. And I can tell if there's any Bam Margera fans out there, I'll let you know that he's doing well, and he's a pretty cool dude in real life. He's a nice guy. I like that guy. We got along really well.
All right. Well, you have a good night, Scott, and I will keep in contact with you.
For sure.
And like my friend said, there's going to be a part 2 coming in within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll
you guys have a good night.
California.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have a good night and peace out.
Peace out.